Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of PMP's Den of Antiquities. And today we are going to talk about the 2003 Clone Wars, if you guys can remember that, because it happened a while ago. Happened a long time ago, and it's kind of overshadowed by the new Clone Wars. So before we get into that, you guys hit the like button, subscribe button, do all that. You don't have to hear me say all that stuff. But if you are listening to it on the audio versions, if you guys could like it and leave me a review, that would be greatly appreciated. That really helps get my podcast out there more and just find more Star Wars friends to talk to. You know, at the end of the day, that's the goal. But what I'm going to do now is we're going to go around the round table and introduce everybody and get all their social medias out to you guys so you guys can follow them. Eros, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it's just RotorS5 on Instagram. That's pretty much it. That's all I'm on at the moment. So ROTAS and just the number 5.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, he has a Fives cosplay that is freaking sick. I'm jealous because I want to make Fives. Like that's like because he's my favorite. Fives and Wolf. And I just added another one to the list because Galactic Armory was having a sale, so I bought his realistic Rex or whatever. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm adding Rex to the docket list. I wasn't planning on it, but
that's it.
Aaron always makes good stuff, man.
Yeah, he does. He's OG for sure. Michael, what about you, man?
I'm on TikTok and Instagram at Darth Semerius, Cemerias, because I know a lot of people don't know how to say it, but it's Semerius. So yeah, I'm on those currently.
I feel that. That's why I kind of just say PMP's Den now, because like saying PMP's Den of Antiquities, like trying to spell that out, people are just like, what? Like I don't even know. So I feel that on that one. Yeah. But we'll have all those links also. I'll have all those links down below. So if you guys want to just scroll down below, you can find all this stuff. Jake, what about you, man?
So my Instagram is j.t.lovecraft, and I just pretty much post whatever I want. I do martial arts stuff. I make helmets. I just do whatever I want. I don't care. That's where you can find me. Instagram.
If you guys are into podcasts, he and I actually just did one that I just posted not too long ago. So go on over and check that out. So,
and 2.5 hours.
yeah. Talking Star Wars video games, Clone Wars, all that stuff, man. It was a good time.
Yeah, man.
Charlie, what about you?
Hello there. I'm just a simple man trying to make his way through the galaxy. I'm not going to do that.
Well
said, I got that reference. I got that.
I understood.
Thank you. That's right. No, my Instagram, Charlie Lone Wolf Thomas, all one word, simple and easy to remember. On the info for that, it should have my YouTube thing, just simple. I just had the Charlie Lone Wolf Thomas because apparently there's 1,000 Charlies out there.
That's how it is.
So,
that's how it is.
I went with that.
Right on. Well, you guys can.
This guy, he meets some celebrities all the time. So maybe you want to actually check out his YouTube channel. Like he talks to people frequently.
There you go. You guys can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that stuff at PMPs_den. That's PMPS_DEN, and you guys can follow me. I do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So go check that out. So let's get down to business, man. I mean, 2003 Clone Wars. That's surprisingly not a lot of people saw that. Like, or I guess like a lot of people now I'm learning that are like they're younger, so they weren't even like born, or they were just born when that stuff was coming out. And I feel like it's kind of like almost like this hidden thing now. Like you don't really know. Like there was people in our little chat that we have that didn't even know it was on Disney Plus. You know.
Vintage,
I think like a Vanguard, he didn't even know that was out there. But what did Eros? I'm gonna pick on you a little bit, man, because you hadn't seen it yet. What were your first thoughts about it? Like, what did you? I know you've watched a little bit of like the new Clone Wars too. Like, what did you think? Kind of like going into it with fresh eyes.
It was crazy. It was very intense. Everything was really fast paced. It was it was pretty insane, to be honest. Like watching Mace Windu there just sort of box the karate chop the heck out of the battle droids and but just things like even that scene when they're in the forest and so Anakin's in the forest with the clone troopers, and like all of a sudden, all the clone troopers just like getting thrown here, getting thrown there, and then all of a sudden he
with
goes,
Asajj, yeah.
yeah, and then he's like, something's not right. It's like only then.
Yeah, like you
pick up on that? Yeah, it's like you think. But yeah, no, well, I didn't. I think I missed it on its first run when it first came out in 2003, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2003.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't realize. I know we kind of talked about it beforehand, but that was basically like, propaganda might not be the right word, but like basically promotion for episode. It was trying to bridge the gap in between like what happened in Clone Wars and then what happened in Revenge of the Sith. So they were like 5-minute to 3-minute little skits. And then they compiled everything to the movie, which I'm so glad they did a movie form. Like, I mean, that's so much better to digest than just watching 3 minutes little skits. But that's cool. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and you got. It's always fun to see something like that you haven't seen, like read something. I've been getting into a lot of like the expanded universe books, and it's kind of like cool. Just like it's like they're now. Back then they were kind of considered canon, but now they're just more of like what ifs. Kind of what if sort of things. And I feel like this is kind of along that same kind of principle of like none of that stuff's canon anymore. All that stuff got retconned. So it's kind of cool to see like what would happen if like Anakin was fighting Asajj and like ended up like fighting her in the temple, which I'm so sad we didn't get that in like live action somewhere, because I think that would have been the coolest scene in live action.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we did get some things like I think it kind of filled in some things like how Grievous, like his breathing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I know he's got the talking stick, but I want to explode right now. I got so much.
Go.
Yeah, go for it.
Clone Wars stand. All right.
Go for it, dude. Like I said, we're not going in any order, and if you got stuff to say, just come on right out with it.
Yeah, go do it.
So, I was such a youngin' when those were first airing, and of course, my dad he was integrating that stuff in my brain when I was super young, just to make sure that I did grow up becoming a Star Wars fan, all that. And I only got like glimpses of it, but then they re-aired it on Cartoon Network, in the more acceptable chunks, and that's when they came out with these in the stores. These are my original copies, of the volume discs.
Very cool. Yeah.
But yeah, they had some sort of special edition too with like a cardboard backing. But I just, I was a kid. I was just happy getting the full collection of something like that. And man, the Clone Wars 2003 has a specific feel to it, because like you were saying, you were getting into the EU, Max.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, from 1999 to the end of 2005, all 3 of the prequels, this era of EU, when it comes to Dark Horse Comics, branched. It was just starting as Prelude to the Rebellion, Outlander, and then it turned into Star Wars Republic. 1 through 83 issue comic book series. Anakin versus Dirge and Ventress, all that kind of cool stuff. It had the same Clone Wars title font on the comic book that it did in the Samurai Jack-esque show that you saw on Cartoon Network. And these comic books released synonymously at the same time. So as you see these episodes, you get comic books with new issues and stuff. But I was a kid; I didn't know anything about that. But
Yeah.
that was a little bonus that you got in there. Grievous, he is a badass, man.
Oh yeah.
Legends Grievous is disgustingly good.
Yeah.
The whole fighting like 5 Jedi at once, spinning into like a blade and like actually winning. That's the Grievous I wanted to see in the film. But as a kid, I wasn't picky, anything like that. You see people nowadays watching shows that come out and they complain about the watch time per episode. Brother, when I was a kid, that wasn't even on my mind. I was just happy to get Star Wars, even if it was 3 minutes.
For sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a nostalgic and very important place when it comes to Star Wars. So
Heck yeah. Well, what do you and I'll start with Michael. I don't know if you guys went back and like rewatched it for this, but do you guys think it still holds up to basically how we were when we were kids? Do you think it still holds up, or do you think it's kind of lackluster now because we've had Whether you love it or hate it, like you can definitely say that the Clone Wars TV show that came out has a lot more character development and story and all that stuff. Does it feel kind of lackluster, or does it still kind of have that awesome feeling?
I don't think it does. No, I think it. I think the biggest thing that makes it good is it's so different than anything else. Like it's not even close. You know, they're obviously it's the Clone Wars and the Clone Wars, the same era, but the animation style is so different and the action is so different, and it's kind of like, for me at least, I see it more as like almost legends versus, like, you know, most Star Wars, I see it all kind of connected together and it's like one big thing. But this I kind of see as like it's almost its own little thing. Maybe because I didn't know about it for a long time, and I'm like, oh, this is like, I didn't see it I think until like middle school or early high school, where I found out about it. And I was actually at my friend's house and he told me about it. And I'm like, what is this? And it's just this new thing that I didn't even know. And it was just, yeah, it was different. And then that's, yeah, when I found out, oh my gosh, Grievous, he's freaking crazy. Like I'd be so scared of this dude. And then, yeah, you see him get, you know, crushed by Mace Windu. And like, I knew what that was. And I saw it and I'm like, hey, that's the thing that happened. And it was just something very new and different. And it has a different appeal, you know, and I like it. It's almost similar. Like I was watching, if you guys have ever seen like Bollywood films, I think they're like, you know, their B movies are kind of cheesy, but some of them are so good, and it's almost like real life anime.
Right.
They're like,
Yeah.
you're not the
Real life anime.
Yeah, they're like not all the same, but they're just like, it's just something else that's super cool. And so I loved it because I'm like, this is like a different type of art. It's a different type of show, and you get to see just kind of craziness. It's not super in depth almost. It almost forces you to kind of sit back and just enjoy it for what it is, you know. So I mean, I don't think it lacks anything. I think it's perfect the way it is.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. I just wanted to ask the question because it's been, you know, kind of like looking back, like it's been so long now. Like that 2003 was a long time ago, you know, like so I, you know, I all of us growing up with this stuff, you know, stuff changes over time. But Jake, what do you think? Do you think it has any lackluster, or do you think it has anything, or are you still like just in love with it just like the first time you saw it?
Probably already know my answer.
Yeah, I just want to include you, you know. Just want to include you.
No, but I like to give myself a break from watching it, so then I can binge both the volumes all in once and then retouch into that nostalgia feeling. I do that with basically all the Star Wars films too. I feel if I watched them too much, you know, I'd be nitpicking, and then I just wouldn't enjoy them as I did. It kind of loses the magic if you see it too much, you know. Kind of like eating the same food over and over.
Yeah.
You just get sick of it, and I don't want that to happen.
I feel you.
But yeah, it all branches down to the way that they were delivering it too. I mean, like he was saying with the Grievous being, and you know, intimidating and scary. That's how he's supposed to be in the film. We got the look down, but then he ran away a lot, you know. And Charlie, I think you said in the Labyrinth of Evil, Grievous plays more important roles when it comes to yeah. And that's the same time period too. Same branching point. The 2003 animated fits seamless. I mean, it butts up right to where they go off into space, and it's very nice to see. In the season 7 of the 2008 Clone Wars, you see Anakin talking to Ahsoka. Here's your new lightsabers, and then he's like, "I gotta go to space. You know, I'm busy. I gotta go to space." You know, it's awesome, dude. I love it. It's so seamless.
Right on, right on. Charlie, what about you, man?
Man, I cannot tell you how many times I've watched that series and still love it, and I still think it endures everything. And fun enough, if you certain stuff, I know it's not considered canon, but you can still add you can still add that in the stuff that you have now, and just like, yeah, that happened too. Like the I got some of the classic moments that I love through that were, as said, when good old Mace Windu did the Donnie Yen treatment on the battle droid.
Oh, yeah.
That was a very special enduring memory.
Bagging him.
Oh God, he obliterated him. And whenever you know, calculated, Chancellor Palpatine kidnapping, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And whenever he turns around, everything like that, Mace's like, "No, you don't." Just grab and everything. And that's how you're like, "Oh, that's the breathing thing." That makes.
Yeah, well, I think you kind of touched on something. It's cool that you can like, even though like I guess like technically it isn't canon, you can still like everybody has like their own head canon, right? Like everybody has like kind of their version of Star Wars. So like you're right, there's so much stuff that you can add. Like if you want to think that it happened, or if you feel like that's how it should have been, like you can add that to your own head canon. That's like so sweet, because technically, Anakin killing Ventress, you could still add that to your own headcanon if you wanted to, because technically she gets killed off screen in a book, and you know how they treat books. So they completely, retcon Kanan and what's his master? Is it Depa Palaba?
Yes, Depa Billaba.
Yeah, like they completely retconned all that, which like I didn't read the book, so it wasn't anything to me, but I know a lot of people were upset about that. But I mean, whatever your headcanon is, man, and like there's no wrong answers with Star Wars.
At the end of the day, just watch Star Wars for you, man.
Yeah,
Listen to the
exactly.
critics.
That's it.
Enjoy.
Exactly. So we see a character that we don't see anywhere. I mean, I guess we see him in the comics, right? But we don't really see him anywhere else, like not in the video games, not in the movies, just really that, and that's Dirge. Would you guys
This guy?
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, I want you to tell that story
That's
too,
awesome.
because it's a really cool story about how you got it signed. But the question I wanted to ask you guys is, and I probably already know the answer for already half of you, but like I want to see what you guys think is, would you want to see him back again, maybe in like either like live action or one of the TV shows for Disney
Yes.
Plus?
1,000%. Dude, yeah, my God, that's a no-brainer for me.
And what would
they'd
you like
have
to see him in?
Well, in particular, how he survived Anakin killing him, because he threw him into a sun. And
In Obsession, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd be even if they like go back and tell like how he became that and just another unstoppable killing machine that in the Clone Wars of the library that they got there and everything like that. I'd love to see that character return some way and just watch him.
Would you be disappointed if they totally retcon that where Anakin didn't kill him? Would you be disappointed, or would you still be happy that he came back?
Dude, I love that art style. I'd still love to see that. That's just yeah, very unique and I love it. Tartakovsky's love it. Still timeless for me.
Would you want to see him like? So what if they didn't do it in his style though? Like what if they did it like live action, like kind of like how they did like Grievous, like they brought Grievous? What would you think about that? Or would you want him to stay kind of like stylized within like animation and stuff like that?
I think I'd go for both. I mean, the art style for not just the Tartakovsky, but what we got in season 7. Even though we've seen Grievous for like literally a second, his like new upgrades and everything before he went to Coruscant. And the live action of what they can pull off now and everything like that. It's kind of wow. So
Yeah.
I'd gladly take both.
But in live action, would you want to see Dirge in the Tartakovsky style depiction with like the drapes, or would you want to see him in the John Ostrander comic book version where he's this, 4-meter tall behemoth and he's got like a laser sight on the side of his head?
Very Predator-esque.
Yeah, he's a little bit more intimidating. I mean,
Oh,
he poisons a bunch of Gungans to set a trap for Kenobi, and they become like zombies to attack him.
Monster. Yeah.
This dude's awesome.
As
Top
long
3
as
bounty hunters for sure.
as long as they got James Arnold Taylor in there, I'm happy.
I think it could be a dangerous game depending on what they do. I feel like so many people are so specific with what they want, and knowing Disney that they wouldn't do either version they have, they change it somehow. Which like it's okay, we'll all be happy, but there's gonna be people out there that aren't. So I don't know. I think if anything, I'd want to see it in a they're both animated, the newer Clone Wars style, so they can keep a lot of that cartoony and like more, crazy style, and I think that end up flowing better because they can just do so much more with it, and people don't take it as serious, and when people take it too serious, then it's just gonna ruin it for a lot of people. Sadly, I mean, it's kind of on them, but not. So yeah, Clone Wars would be cool.
What if he was like locked away? Because like they reintroduced Mount Tantus. Like, what if he was like locked away on Mount Tantus or something like that?
So here's the thing: a lot of people don't know, but Dirge was actually tortured for thousands of years by Mandalorians. So when he woke up from his cryo, he had a hatred for Mandalorians. So when you see the scene of him where he mounts up on the speeder bikes with the assassin droids, he's brutalizing these clone troopers, man, because they have the T-visor. He freaking hates them.
I didn't even know that.
He freaking hates them.
Interesting.
Could you imagine if he came in contact with Django in like Attack of the Clones or something?
Dude. Well, that you bring him back and have Boba interact with him, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Boba season 2. Boba needs a redemption for season 1. We need another season for Boba. Have freaking him work for Crimson Dawn and throw Crimson Dawn in there and freaking all that stuff, man. Throw Dirge in there, like make a cooler. Because I felt like Black Chrysanthemum, like while he was cool, I felt like he should have messed up some stuff a lot more than what he did. Like have Dirge come in and be like that wrecking ball that just like I don't know, maybe he kills like Finnick or something like that, or something crazy like out of left field. It doesn't have to be that.
The comics will always take their liberties when telling a story compared to live action. Black Chrysanthemum, like when he fought Obi-Wan on Tatooine, he like bit his arm, and then Obi-Wan like threw him off a cliff. That's why you see they at least kept it, continuity with the scar on the eye and all that. But Dirge himself has like 4 or 5 different helmet variants. Recently in the new Marvel Dr. Aphra issue, I forget what issue it is of Volume 2, Dirge comes back, so he's recanonized, and his helmet is like pointier. It still has the traditional fin, like the original one, but it's got like a front-ended like a muzzle, kind of like a canine almost. But his eyes, you'll notice this every single iteration of his helmet, his eyes have the same slit with the downward spike and then the upward towards like the middle of the bridge of the nose. But yeah, that I like when they dabble into stuff like that. But if we get Dirge live action, that's another can of worms. How else do you kill him besides throwing him into a sun, dude?
Yeah. And how I think they'd struggle with how they'd sort of show his final form, maybe like at the end there, where he's like all the armor's off and he's just that whole sort of.
They probably would, if I had to guess.
And all of that. It's just like it's a little bit sort of Resident Evil-esque, a bit sort of thing.
But honestly, I feel like Stranger Things did it really well.
Like repulsed inside of him. This dude was atoms, and he still came back together.
Like I feel like because I don't know if you guys have seen like are into Stranger Things or whatever, but like they have like these tentacle like kind of like Vecna is like the big bad guy in this one, and he kind of has those kind of tentacle style. Like it's a little bit grosser. It kind of looks more demonic than like what Dirge is like. I mean, in the cartoons it's colorful because it's comic books, but our animation, but. You could definitely have it, I think, in there, especially with their budgets. I mean, that probably would be where all the budget for season 2 went, but you could definitely have it in there. Or just keep him in his regular form, or see like a sliver of it or something like that. Like say his arm gets chopped off by Boba Fett or something like that, by Mando with the Darksaber. And then you see kind of like the little like tentacle things that he has. Like you could do like little subtle nods to it. For sure.
He's a spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would work better if, say, he lost a limb or something. But even what you touched on before, it may be like a Django sort of prequel sort of series. And
dude,
sort of
that
fights
would be
Django
sick.
in that.
Dude, Dirge freaking hates Mandalorians, man, I tell you what.
That would be cool.
And have we seen a villain before get stabbed through the chest? Obi-Wan, he looks up and the dude's just laughing in his face.
Yeah,
that's right. That was pretty intense as well.
Punching him with the lightsaber inside of him.
That was a hectic episode. I remember that.
That was nuts.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Obi-Wan too in that. Obi-Wan with his long flowing hair,
Clone
Wars cape.
Yeah.
On a swoop bike with his lightsaber.
I want to do that cosplay so bad, but instead of having it Obi-Wan, I want to do Plo Koon. I found a STL file for a Plo Koon mask I was thinking about maybe getting like Galactic Armories, like animated Clone Wars style, or do something like that, and then do gray robes instead of the brown one, and have like Wolf's armor. I want to do that so bad, and I've thought about that because I
No,
do-
you can a better. You know, you can even get a. You can pick up a Plo Koon one from Fram Den, I think his name is on Instagram.
Yeah, I thought
he
about
makes
that.
These really awesome silicone,
dude, he's great.
full wearable masks. Yeah,
Mhm.
you can just use it as a bust.
Heck yeah, dude. His stuff. I want to get his stuff. It's just the only thing with his stuff is from what I've heard. I think they're like $700-800, rightfully so. He does amazing work, and then you have to wait like 6 months to a year to get it. And I was just like, that's the time.
Well,
I was like, I don't have the patience for that.
The wait time, yeah, that's true. But like, it depends on the piece because I DM'd him. I was like, how much is a Gamorrean guard? He's like 400, which is
Really?
general ballpark for a fully customized finished helmet. You know,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, man. That's
depends on the piece, I guess. Depends on how much work he puts in. I know his Cad Bane one with the reflective eyes, the tubes, and like all the slight detailing on the scarring of his cheek. That's probably one of the more expensive ones, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That Cad Bane's cool. I want to do. There's so many cosplays I want to do. I'm like, yeah, I want to do this one. I got like a list that's like this long of like cosplays I want to do because every time I see a Cad Bane, it's Cad Bane from the Book of Boba Fett. Like nobody's done like a Clone Wars big hat Cad Bane, or at least I haven't seen it. Maybe you guys have, but that's what I want to see. I want to see somebody with a massive hat. Like I want to get a hat that's like. I want to like walk into a room and it fills the whole room or something like that. Like that's how big the hat needs to be.
Like Doug Dimmadome, but
Yeah.
like wide.
Oh yeah. My name's Cad Bane. Cad Bane Dimmadome. But I want to kind of move on to the arc where Anakin goes and fights Ventress. Unless you guys have any more to say about Dirge or anything like that. Did we miss anything that you guys think about or? Or actually, no. I want you to tell your story about the helmet and stuff like that because that's a really cool story. If you don't mind sharing that.
Yeah. So back in the day, the Dirge specifically, you know, I remember as a kid, and I have never seen a cosplay of him. The only file I could find online of any existence, I searched far and through, was Big Baby Props, which is of course Aaron from Galactic Armory. He rebranded. And this is his prototype. This is like the first one he's ever done. Fully printed and all that. He painted it up. And then like these marks right here, like I got some black, like greenish, like black weathering paint from Joanne Fabrics. I filled in the cracks on the back. I just used a little bit of a tape to help me guide it. And I put some water in it to dilute it. So like this section here where you can see it like scrubbing, it adds like a nice little greeny type weathering if you look close. But yeah, that's how the helmet came in. And I was like, okay, so I got the helmet down. How am I going to get the drapes? So I went to Joanne Fabrics and I picked out some fabric. And it is like as close as I can get to like the actual color and how the material looks like it would feel. So it's like this like taupe gray color with like a navy blue with a different texture. And my mom's friend, who's a seamstress, she just did it. She charged me like $10. I'm like, you're kidding me. This is a custom thing. You don't. And she's like, I'm friends with your mom. Don't worry about it. I'm like,
oh, I'm coming in clutch.
Okay, I'm coming in clutch. So she perfectly, like seamlessly blended those two fabrics together. She makes wedding dresses. Like she's the real deal.
Oh, sick.
And I even had her do like this. You don't even see this in the back, but I was trying to kind of combine the comic book version where he has like this
almost like netting or something
around his neck. Yeah, and it's like a diamond shaped brown pleather, and it just goes down like that. But underneath, recently went to Nashville and I met James Arnold Taylor.
Oh yeah.
And James signed it and he said, "Jake, the force is strong," underlined, "with you." James Arnold Taylor, voice of Obi-Wan, and Plo Koon. So that was pretty cool because when I got there, I just brought the drapes with me. I didn't bring the helmet because of like packing and all that. And I just brought these. I set them on the table because he remembered me from the day before, which is a different story. But he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that. I forgot that I did that. Awesome, yeah, cool." So what is this Dirge in the Clone Wars? I'm like, yeah. I pulled up my phone showed him the picture of it. He's like, I thought I killed that guy. And he's like, I thought you did too. So he remembered it, and I slapped that like there, and he just awesome, dude, signed it up. And the only other Dirge cosplayer I know that does a phenomenal job, I forget his name, following him on Instagram though, and he does he's like the guy that's known for cosplaying Dirge. He does the it's like a hybrid combination of like the comic book adaptation, laser pin sight eye, a different style of drapes that are like the slate blue and gray. Really cool, really cool work that goes into these different things. But yeah, I'm really stoked to be the quote unquote first in the world owner of a Tartakovsky Dirge.
And not only the first, but also signed by the man
James,
that met him himself. You know,
the man that stabbed him and got laughed at. So.
But one thing I'm looking at, because I wrote down like a whole bunch of notes while I was watching this, and dude, can we talk about? I didn't know that those Venator class starships, they're like boats. Like you can literally land them like on the water, because you get that scene with Kit Fisto where he's jumping into the water with all like the scuba troopers, which is also like super cool. Like we've never seen. I wish I got him out. I actually have that little figure. I got like the little toy of the scuba guys, but I thought that was the coolest thing growing up, because I liked I like the GI Joe like pontoon boat and stuff like that I'd play in the bathtub when I was like a kid and stuff like that. So I'd always bring out like the little scuba guy, but like. I thought that was really cool. I thought Kit Fisto was always a really cool character, and I was always sad that we didn't get to see a lot of him in the movies. You know, they're just kind of like the Jedi are just kind of background characters. Just so to see him go through the water, like swimming super fast with a lightsaber, then lightsabers work underwater. Like how does that happen?
He loves it.
Yeah, I know. He's got a giant smile on his face the whole time. Like
he always has a smile on his face.
I know.
Big water balls.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, but I wanted to throw that one in there because we didn't talk about that one. But yeah, going back to Ventress and that. How do you guys have you guys? I haven't read. I think it's Dark Disciples. I think that's the book that she's in with Quinlan. I think that's what it's called. So I don't know if you guys have read that or whatever. We won't. If you guys are fine with spoilers on how she like her kind of fate ends up. Are you guys okay with that, or do you not want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because she gets zapped by Dooku essentially. You know, she gets crispified by Dooku. What do you guys think about like how? First off, like which one do you kind of like better? And which one would you have liked to see like in the movie? Because like either like one's in a book and then one's in a cartoon that's not really canon anymore. So what would you have like if they were to do a live action adaptation? Which one would you guys like to see? And Eros will go with just of her demise essentially, because we assume that that's her demise. She falls through the thing, and it kind of alludes to that, but you never really know. But Eros, what do you think, man? What would you like to see, and what kind of in a live action version? Like, would you like to see like how she kind of ended up with Anakin, or getting fried by Dooku?
Yeah. Jeez.
Both harsh ways to go out.
Cool. Yeah, both are pretty harsh ways to go out. Both are pretty cool. The one where she gets fried by Dooku would be pretty cool to see, but also pretty dark as well. But then the fight against Anakin as well, where he sort of like just goes full Sith on her at the end and stuff like that, and sort of you can see that sort of delve of him crossing into the dark side sort of thing would have worked well for his storyline as well, I believe.
Oh yeah. Well, I like too, because I was watching that and I was like, that's the same move Luke does in Return of the Jedi. He literally does that same thing with Vader, where he's just like, wah, you know.
Well, even you got to remember, even in the 2008 Clone Wars when he's fighting Barriss.
Yeah. Truth. He does do it there.
It's a very interesting thing to do, I guess.
Yes, very very Skywalker. That's the classic move. But Michael, what do you think, man?
It's a tough one, because I think Ventress getting, turned crispy is better for her story, but I think for like Anakin, Ventress dying to Anakin, that better fits his story. So I think Well, I mean, I think it'd be, I guess visually, I think it'd be better to see her fall to Count Dooku, because I don't think we've like really seen that. Like we saw Luke get zapped and Vader get zapped by Palpatine, but other than that, we don't really get too much. I guess in general, Force powers throughout the movies. I mean, you don't see what they can really do. I mean, that's also why the 2003 Clone Wars is so cool, because you can see so much.
That's all
like,
cranked up to
power.
11. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know even like I'm not into the comics or books a ton, but I know in one of them it says how there's like a bystander watching, and he's like, oh, the Jedi and Sith, they just look like blurs because they move so fast.
Oh, wow.
And like that's the reality of the Force, and I think being able to see kind of what that can do, it would be a lot better. But Anakin also, like, he's like such a big part of Star Wars that if we were to see that fight in live action, like, I think it would add so much more to his character, because
Especially with the rain.
It's so deep. It's just like, it would be visually stunning.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know. It's a tough one. Honestly, I couldn't say.
Well,
I have an answer.
it's tough because like they show like the lighting, right? Like he turns red, then he turns green, then he turns blue, and then you see like Yoda and Qui-Gon, I think Obi-Wan too. Like you see all the, like, you could totally do all, because they did that kind of in episode 2 with when he's like dueling Count Dooku at the very end with both the sabers. They kind of have those kind of where they're just like zoom, 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 so it changes.
If they could figure out how to portray like that moment well in live action, I guess they could do it like a Clone Wars style too, but I'd prefer to see live action. Then yeah, I'd go for that, because it's something that you don't really, there's not really a scene like that. Even in the prequels, you could see Anakin's changing and he's emotional, but I feel like the kind of scenery around it was kind of subtle. Like most of the time you saw that he was like, he had a bad dream and he's in his apartment, and then you kind of see that, and until obviously the end. That's the biggest thing, the end of Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, it'd be cool to see that if they did it well.
Definitely. Charlie, did you have something to? I saw you kind of like perk up there. Did you have something to add?
No, man, I was loving every bit of it.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite episodes. I remember one where they were playing and how they played it off. I think that was the first time we actually seen, as talking about earlier, when the poor stormtroopers or clone troopers, I'm sorry, get yeeted out. And
No, unacceptable. You're out of the podcast. You said stormtroopers. You're done.
And, R4, and then boom. Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
R4 explodes.
real quick. On that note, I'm sorry. I apologize because I interrupted you. Why does he have R4? Why doesn't he have R2D2? I guess because the ship blows up. But like, why does he have? Because R4. Obi-Wan, R4 gets messed up in Revenge of the Sith, right? That's what Obi-Wan's droid is, isn't it? By the droidicas?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like,
I didn't catch up on that, but did they actually call him R4 in the cartoon?
Yeah, he goes
They did.
R4.
Maybe they took his head and just repaired him. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you'll be fine, little buddy. You'll be fine. Fast forward a couple of years. Oh.
Used to come to the buzz droids.
Rest in peace, R4.
Yeah,
God.
R.I.P. But we'll move back to Jake. I mean, what do you think, man? I know you're a big reader, and I don't know if you've read Dark Disciples, but I know you're into the books and stuff a lot. What do you think about that kind of scenario?
So I have some sort of ADHD where I can't read text for too long. So when it comes to like the books and stuff, I have to go audio. But comic books are all eye candy, man. Republic is one of my favorite comic book series. An Obsession, when Dirge dies, that's a spin-off of that. It's a little mini series built off of a Republic. But yeah, it retains Asajj's original look with the black and white rather than the grayish white with the purple and all that, which I really appreciate how they portrayed her in the 2008, but the 2003 just feels different. When she's fighting in the
Arena?
Rataki, I think it's called the Ratataki Arena.
Sure.
She's like,
why not? That sounds good.
Yeah, she's like, she goes up to Dooku as this disguise, and he's like, I am not looking for a spy. dun dun, and then she jumps down and starts wreaking havoc on these monsters and stuff. And then he just obviously like, I'm the Sith, you know. But,
Poor Christopher Lee, man, always portrayed with the longest face. Like he will never
Yeah,
get
I know.
installed. He will never get rid of long faced Count Dooku. That's another one I wrote. That's literally the first note that I have. I said long faced Count Dooku, and then I put LOL.
It's the iconic beard. It's why
His
the
beard's like
face.
60 feet long, and he's like,
Yeah. He's got the Doug Dimmadome of beards.
yeah, that's for sure. It makes up like 90% of his face.
But Asajj Ventress versus Anakin on Yavin 4, that is poetic. That is so my favorite duels: Anakin versus Obi-Wan, Maul and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, Anakin versus Asajj.
Interesting.
The whole,
okay.
The whole lightsabers in the rain. Like,
sick.
very Akira Kurosawa, waiting to strike. Waiting for one of them to make the first move. Even the soundtrack of them just zipping through the trees, like bullets flying by. And yeah, that ending. Have you realized every single time that they use the Duel of the Fates track, it always has to deal with a very pivotal moment in Anakin's story. Duel of the Fates with Maul, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, that's the fate of Anakin. Is Maul gonna kill Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and, get his hands on Anakin? We don't know.
Tune in next week.
Anakin versus Asajj, the red floating up. He loses his lightsaber and he uses hers, and he starts wailing nonstop, the flashes of the people looking over him, Yoda, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. That's like, oh man, this dude's gonna change. This is bad news. But yeah, that has to be one of my top 3 favorite duels.
It's pretty sick in the rain with the blood red like moon behind him and stuff like that. I'm just like, dang, they really did a good
She's
scene.
running backwards while they're fighting up the stairs. Of course, it's like a cartoon. You can do that, but that's like, it's just such a cool concept.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a tough one because I really like her arc in the Clone Wars. I like her becoming a bounty hunter. I thought that was really sick. And if we went with the epic duel scene, you don't kind of get that arc. But it's also really cool. Just like in my opinion, I know I'm gonna get hate for this. We haven't had a good lightsaber duel since Obi-Wan versus Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. That's just my opinion. And I am thirsty for a freaking lightsaber duel. Like the lightsaber duel in Force Awakens is cool because I like the snow environment. I thought that was really cool. And then
how about Ahsoka versus Maul though?
Okay.
Ray
Yeah.
Park was in that. Ray Park was in that.
Poking holes in my freaking thing.
Okay.
I just freaking had a solid thing
Ray Park
going.
and Mary Kim was in that. They did the motion capture for that.
Fair enough. Well, I feel like the Rise of Skywalker could have been cool because I thought like the scene of like them on the ruins of the Death Star. I just wanted it to be longer. That was like my only beef. I wanted music and I wanted it to be longer because it was cool. Yep. It was super cool, but I felt like it was like 30 seconds and then it was gone. It's done. I'm just like, give me more.
I was just happy to see the Force jumps.
Right?
That was like the best one.
Right, I completely
we haven't
agree.
seen that in so long.
Well, I mean, I think the choreography for that one was great. Like I thought it was good. It's just I wanted it to be longer. And then they tricked us, man. They're little tricksters because they put the Duel of the Fates soundtrack in like they showed like a shot of them fighting for like the advertising. And I was like, oh man, are we gonna get like Duel of Fates music in the background while they're like fighting on the Death Star? And they didn't have anything. I was like,
yeah.
It's like what could have been. R.I.P. Still good, but I'm jonesing for what really made me think about that was I don't know if you guys watched the Knights of the Old Republic, like the new like MMO game, or I say new, like the newest MMO game. I forget what the title of it's called, but they just released like another one like a few months ago, and they're like jumping and like throwing the sabers, and the master's catching the saber, and against the Malgus and stuff like that. Like
it's a trippy animation style, I feel like.
Yeah, and I just like I'm like maybe we don't need one like to that level, like a lightsaber, like a live action one, but adding some elements like that I think would be super cool, So We kind of got off track from the Clone Wars a little bit, but but yeah. So now we're kind of moving on because like, isn't that the end of the? I'm trying to think where the first one ends and the second one begins. He basically is he knighted in the first one? Does he become a knight at the end of it, or is that in the second one?
I think that's in the second.
Right at the very end, because they get the little distress beacon of the
Oh yeah,
the
Master Barak!
dog,
Master
the dog,
Barak!
like there's
Yeah.
this crazy cybernetic new Jedi
General, he's unstoppable.
Yeah, and then poor Shaggy dies, the Jedi. God rest
Like
his soul.
Scoops.
Yeah. So that happens, and that immediately goes over to like the season 2. Then they add in like the time lapse and the growed out hair of Anakin, and Obi-Wan gets his attire from Revenge of the Sith. So,
Oh yeah, very very cool, very cool. We see like Cody with like a jetpack and stuff. Yeah. So
Isn't the Shaggy Jedi name actually Shaggy?
yeah, it's like Shag Eye or something like that. It's like some
Shaggy
weird
or
yeah.
something, yeah.
Go with.
Yeah, but the battle of Hypori was supposed to be one of those big Republic losses. I mean, you see that big downed Venator completely surrounded by thousands of B2s. It's pretty brutal. And then you see Grievous, go in and do work.
Yeah.
What we were meant to see.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wish because like I was watching that, I was like, man, I wish they kind of did that at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. I wish they added like a little bit more to the fight at the very beginning, because like Anakin like never fights Grievous ever, like just because of that line that he had. He's like, I thought you'd be taller, or like whatever. Like I think if they would have had like that level of a fight at the very beginning, I think that would have been super cool. And then have him retreat, obviously, because that's kind of what Grievous does, is he retreats. Like if he's in trouble, he's like, I'm out. Makes Windu crush my windpipe, and I'm done. I'm running.
That would have been awesome in Revenge of the Sith, because it could have got live action ARC troopers as well.
Oh, dude, those ARC troopers are like the
could you
coolest thing.
imagine? Could you imagine on Utapau when they the 312th jumped down from the catwalk? You see like an ARC trooper leading them. Like instead of it just being a normal 312th jumping on top of the crab trooper, it's like an ARC trooper.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
doing the dual pistols, or he's like spinning it like Django does, and like puts it back in his holster and stuff. Like
Revolver Onslaught style.
yeah, dude, it's
Or like Fives in Umbara.
yeah,
Ooh.
very
Oh,
much
yeah.
so.
Where
Yeah.
he jumps on that.
But-
Does he?
Or-
No, he doesn't jump on it, does he? He throws the grenade into its mouth. And...
yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the little like tentacle?
thinking-
Tentacle guy thing?
Yeah, I keep thinking he jumps on it, but he doesn't. I keep forgetting that.
But
That's a nice segue into the ARC troopers there.
yeah, dude, the ARC troopers are like honestly like one, because like that's like for like people who didn't grow up like at like the prequel kind of era, the clone troopers are kind of buttholes. Like they weren't like Clone Wars kind of gave them a personality and like likable traits, but like before Clone Wars, like they were just like foot soldiers, like minions, like they didn't have any personalities. Like I'm sure people
Except
liked them.
Fordo.
Yeah, well, literally, that's all they gave is Fordo, and some of those ARC troopers in that series. That was kind of all we had, because like even in the video games, which I think they retconned as well on the Battlefront 2, which Tamora Morrison voices, like the clones knew about Order 66. Like it wasn't like a chip thing. Like they knew about it. Like they knew that it was going to happen, and that they were trained to like eventually wipe out the Jedi, which that's all retconned, obviously, for the better, in my opinion, because them being controlled is a lot more of a compelling story. But yeah, man, seeing those, I want to do. This is just a talk about me and all the cosplays that I want to do. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you for my TED talk. But doing a stylized like Fordo with like battle damage.
We were talking about this when I was on the Atlas code, whatever that guy. He makes the actual stylized Fordo helmet.
Yeah, and I want to get
It's very nice.
I have this bad thing about me, and like I love supporting artists and supporting local artists, but if I know I can make it myself, I at least have to try. And I feel like I can definitely I have my modeling skills are enough to where I can to make that helmet, but I want to make like the whole armor, and then I kind of want to do like a Borderlands style where there's like a black outline around like
cell shading.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
That was super cool.
I haven't seen anybody do like a stylized kind of like clone trooper like that yet, and if there are, I definitely want to see it because I'm going to be using them as reference. But
Yeah, awesome.
I forget the guy's name going onto stylized stuff, but somebody did like a really like retro looking Boba Fett. He's like a custom figure maker. And he did like 80 styles where it's like a lot of pinks and blues. I mean, I wish I could remember his name. I'll pull it up in the chat and it'll pop up for you listeners. But he did a really cool retro one, and that's where I got that idea from, because I was like, oh man, that's kind of different, you know, kind of have like those vintage, like almost like Boba Fett and the, what was that,
Holiday
like
special.
was it the holiday special where he's like riding like the
Charlie.
what's
Yeah.
it called?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was something
Yeah.
kind of like that, but
Yeah, that's cool.
but like that
Jake
style of
Nipple.
armor is awesome.
Dude.
Yes,
That
he
holiday
did.
special's got some history behind it, but
Oh,
that's another
yes.
can of worms. But
It's,
no, dude, I love it. I love his art style in holiday special. The blue
Yeah,
and the
it's
gold is
sick.
very stylish. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Daniel Logan did a cosplay of that.
I saw that. He actually did really good with
Wait,
that. I don't know if he
his
made
buddies-
it, but
No, his buddies is Wasted Foot. They're
Oh,
part
yeah,
of the
yeah.
Dented Helmet Club on Facebook. They were like some of the original guys that actually made sure the accuracies to the Fett helmets came into play.
oh
So,
really?
At one of the cons, he came up and he's like, "Yeah, your helmet sucks, Daniel. I'm gonna make you one." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Here's my contact info. Send it in the mail. If it's good, we'll be buddies." And it is. So they're
Nice.
buddies.
It's just-
Pretty
Very
awesome.
cool. That's you got some balls to go up to Daniel Logan and be like, "Hey man, I know you're in Star Wars, but your shit sucks. So I'm gonna remake it for
Yeah.
you." Like that's like it takes some courage to go up to somebody like that and be like, you know, hey.
So much so that he made him like 4 or 5 helmets too. I think he
Did
has
he
like
really?
one iteration of each one. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
sick.
he did. Awesome.
courtesy of Wasted Foot. Yeah, he's a really cool dude.
Shout out to Wasted Fett, man.
Rockstar.
But we get to also see, going back to the Clone Wars again, the like the Ilum and like the Jedi, like the crystal, because it's different of how they
Yeah.
grab that now. Because like usually the crystal, like I'm sure in that one they just didn't go in depth. I'm sure that called out to Barriss and she pulled it down. But in the Clone Wars, like the saber, there's not a whole, it's not like a mine shaft of like crystals, kind of like in the 2003 Clone Wars. Like it calls out to you and everything is dark in Ilum, you know, now. But also one thing that I thought was cool and that we don't ever see is people putting their lightsabers together using the freaking Force. Like, can we get that please somewhere? Like,
Yeah.
show Luke training with Grogu, or just Luke at a temple and him putting together his saber and like with his eyes closed or something. Like, such a cool scene, and I wish we had that. That was my one big thing about Return of the Jedi, is they cut that scene out of Return of the Jedi of him
was-
tweaking his lightsaber.
It was nice to see, if you remember, and I don't remember what Force Unleashed was, but Star
Yeah,
Killer.
the first one.
Yeah, where he's struggling.
Standard edition.
Yeah, like I was like, okay, because that was the first time I ever saw that they did it that way. I don't even think I knew. You know, I was little when I played that. I remember playing on the Wii, and I broke my TV because I was just standing there, banged it.
R.I.P. I haven't
Yeah,
played
that
the
would be
Wii
cool.
version.
See,
I know the Wii version's different than the Xbox one.
So the Wii version is the same as the PS2 version. The only reason the PS2 version is better is because you can activate more combos. Because the way with the Wii remote is, it's like a wonky movement with the lack of like missing buttons and that kind of stuff to do that. But it's the same. It's the same story. Both of those versions are a lot longer drawn out. There's like a Rhodian boss on Raxus Prime. There's some sort of like Gungan dude with like these big mech droid like red things and like vibroblades.
That sounds
um,
cool.
Darth Phobius, I think her name is. She's one of the Jedi Temple bosses, and then another Utapawan boss. Like they cut out like a good amount of bosses.
Wow.
From the original when they remastered it. Yeah.
Well, I got it for Switch,
Dude.
so I'm like super excited to play it on the Switch.
Yeah. I'm a big Force Unleashed fan.
Same, yeah. It's like my favorite Star Wars game for sure.
He's a good man.
Oh yeah, but I thought that was kind of cool, kind of seeing, because Barriss is kind of a bad guy now, in the new Clone
Yeah.
Wars, but she wasn't like that in the original. So I thought that was kind of cool to see Illuminara and Barriss. I always thought they were really cool characters, and also seeing like how they talk about like she's like just completing like her Jedi training, you know, putting together the saber. I thought that was really cool to see then obviously like Yoda being a badass. It's like something's
Yeah.
wrong here. You know.
Yoda's wearing he's like riding this big like deer, like this
Yo,
horned
okay,
deer
yeah,
thing.
you're talking about you're talking about on Coruscant.
Like a topo.
I actually have, man. I wish I wasn't prepared. I brought out my little figures, but I actually have like a realistic version of they made a realistic toy of Yoda riding that like elk deer thing, and I have it. But I didn't bring it out. I should have brought him out, and I should have brought the scuba guy out. But no, the Battle of Coruscant, man. Seeing that, like, that was crazy. Like, Mace Windu, like, literally, like, punching his hand into, like, the vulture droid and just, like, cruising around. Like, that would look goofy as hell in live action. And I'm so glad they do animated stuff because we needed to see that. But that would look so funky, you know?
Just like two things in that art style that are so goofy but work because it's a cartoon. One, every single explosion is just a red cloud.
Yeah.
I think like someone throws their lightsaber inside of a droideka and it just blows up.
Yeah. It's a very 80s action movie.
Yeah. The other one is them standing completely still, and then when they're getting shot at a lot, they're standing still and then just moving around.
But no, that was super cool. I'm so glad because you don't get to see any of that, right? Like all that skipped in the movies, you know, and it's very cool.
And important stuff too. Like seeing Grievous go ape on those freaking clones in the Chancellor's office.
Oh yeah,
it's like grabbing their head around, chopping them up. Important stuff.
How much balls does that trooper have though when they're in the elevator and Grievous is like running alongside the elevator and he's like, "Gotcha, bitch," you know, like what the hell was he thinking? I mean, I know it's glass and the thing would go through the glass, but I was just like, you're too close. Like, have you done training simulation? You can't shoot a freaking rocket launcher at somebody that's 2 feet away from you, dude. It's not gonna work out well. And then that Ithorian was really cool. Like, we don't really get to see Ithorians.
Four throats.
Yeah, and he's like going to, you know, it's like it's really cool to see that. And then we still never get to see really what happens to Shaak Ti. Shaak Ti is still a mystery, but
here's the thing. Of course, Shaak Ti is one of those characters that has like 4 or 5 deaths in Star Wars. I think the canonical one is Anakin in the deleted scene killing her, because it appears twice. Yeah. It appears in the deleted scene and then Yoda's vision in the Clone Wars.
Yep.
So that's like ruled out to be the actual canon. But another of the deleted scenes before Anakin and Obi-Wan are in like the fuel tank like area. The scene before that is Grievous stabbing her through the back, which would have made sense in the movie because what is it? The Magna Guards capture her, right? Or no, they back off, and then Grievous finally gets up to her, and he zaps her. He's like trapping her in this big wire thing. So Grievous having a hold of Shaak Ti in Revenge of the Sith makes sense. So him killing her would actually fit, like the 2003 Clone Wars, seamlessly. It goes right, like I said, right up to the Battle of Coruscant.
Oh yeah, well, like. Amazing. Also, too, like, the one thing throughout this whole thing is, like, I didn't realize, like, how much scale that this art style shows. Like, there's, like, hundreds of thousands of enemies, like, all the time. And I guess it's easier to do because you can kind of copy and paste, you know, like, but, like, I was like, man, like, the amount of droids that the Jedi have to fight, like, the force powers are cranked up to 11, you know, they're pushing hundreds of battle droids with, like, the force abilities and stuff like that. I really thought that was cool and something that's kind of unique to that movie, you know, it's like our TV show or whatever you want to call it, and I wish we kind of got a little bit more of that sense of, like, I mean, it's good that we got it wherever we got it, but it would have been cool to kind of see that in live action. I guess the biggest one that you see is kind of like the battle over Coruscant, and then the little bits on Utapau, you know, when all the guys are dropping down and stuff like that. But I thought that was really cool. I'm blanking on the guy. He looks super cool. Who's the guy with the horns?
Oh,
that's in the spaceships. I can't think of his name.
CC-10.
Is that it?
Good job.
I wish we saw more of him because he has some freaking cool arm. When he puts on that helmet, man, and he's like jumping from stuff. He's like, we,
Prepare for battle.
yeah. He's like, we need another ship, and they
Literally.
just all hop to the other ship.
He's boarding it like a pirate.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that
I
was.
forgot about that.
Yeah, I thought that part was really cool. I'm trying to think of like, because I know there's so many different things. What else happened? Oh, we're missing the whole Anakin, his like ghost hand
Ghost
trial.
hand?
Yeah.
Oh, the prophecy.
Nelvin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Planet Nelvin, and he chokes out the Techno Union.
Yeah. He just like gets him, but like, I was a little sad honestly because that was one of the episodes I did see, and I thought Anakin was gonna have that sick tattoo in the movies, and he doesn't have it in the movies. I'm just like,
I
damn.
love that.
Like that was.
He
I
had
thought
the
that was-
scar though.
Yeah, he still had
He
the
had
scar.
so yeah, we didn't see him get the scar, but my canon at least is that Asajj gave him that scar.
I think that's still
because
canon,
Padme-
isn't it?
Well, because in Clone Wars, he doesn't get it from Asajj. He's just fighting as a knight, and then Padme, it like cuts to a scene of Padme just touching his face. He's like, "Oh, I know."
Oh, okay. I thought
so
that
we
was
don't- we
canon
don't-
that
we
she
don't
got
really
it
see that.
both times.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I like to think is if you guys have seen the like concept art for episode 2 of how like they're trying to figure out what they should make Hayden Christensen look like, and you see the concept art, it's a lot like that. And so I'm like, I like to think that that's kind of the same thing that they're doing, where they're like, oh well, we didn't get that in episode 2, so we'll just put it in
Yeah, man.
oh yeah, dude.
So I think that's
That concept art is trippy. They have like that. It reminds me every time I think about that. It makes me think of like they almost gave him a freaking mohawk, dude. Like
yeah, they
that-
made him look like crazy.
It did.
Could you
man.
imagine him like Hayden Christensen with a freaking mohawk? Like that'd be so extra. I'm like, I'm
A
so
bit of a
glad they
Jedi
didn't do
mullet.
it.
That'd be cool.
Top man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember George going, "Yeah, I think it's too much."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was right. He was 100% right. And then they gave Obi-Wan the Jedi mullet. He was rocking the Jedi mullet, but
Oh, fuck the rock star.
yeah, that was funny. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we missed that we can talk about? I mean, that's kind of what ends it, really. I mean, it's just they kind of go over the Battle of Coruscant, and then it just kind of leads into, oh, you know what we didn't talk about? Mace Windu. I know we talked about him speed punching the thing, but that like stomping thing.
Oh, the big machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like could you
They
imagine
had
seeing
They
that?
had that in the new comic book. Let me go grab it real quick.
Did they really? Yeah, because like his force powers are cranked up to like he like hops like away from the battlefield and like onto a mountain that's like 6 miles away, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, man.
What the heck?
Flies through the air.
It's just like, let me
Turns
just
into a mace.
grab some water from this kid real quick. He's like, thanks, bro, and then just hops back into the battle. Like, it's so
Yeah,
cool.
So-
I remember.
This is Obi-Wan issue 3, part of the new Marvel series. He's got Ewan McGregor in his Clone Wars armor from the
Hey.
2008, which is really awesome.
Dang gang.
And let me find the page here, but it's like blending. This whole like the first couple issues is Obi-Wan reminiscing of his past adventures, that kind of stuff. So he's like remembering the Clone Wars and all that. I don't know if you can see it, but it shows Kit Fisto up here at the top, slicing people down. It's like a nasty glare. There's Ahsoka,
Oh,
and
very
then
cool.
here is Mace Windu on the side of that big stomping thing.
Oh
With
wow.
his lightsaber
Okay.
grenade, when he cuts into the wall. So look at that. 2 panels over. Ahsoka and then Mace Windu from 2003.
That's
and then
pretty
the
cool.
Battle of High Pori with Grievous standing over all those clones.
That's pretty sick.
Oh,
Yeah.
They're blending it and
that
it
is
fits.
awesome.
That's great. Yeah, that because that thing's like they brought in a couple of things because like the whatever machine Kit Fisto destroyed underneath the water, like that was kind of something similar. It's a big ion cannon, and then in the Clone
Yeah.
Wars, they like the 2008 one, they have like that whatever that pulse like thing with the Plo Koon episode where he's like, "Oh, we're clones. We don't matter." He's like, "Not to me," and like. But they had that whatever that ship was called. They always
Is
have
that the
those.
Malevolence?
Was it the Malevolence? Is that what it was called?
I thought the Malevolence was the one with the big zap ring.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
ion,
chopped
like
down those-
destroyer.
Yeah, that was the beta test
Um,
of the Death Star later on.
But I always thought that was kind of cool. Like you kind of get like the stealth ship. When man,
People didn't know that the Mon Calamari fought the Quarren.
Yeah.
too, which is a nice little touch. Because the Quarren are obviously more separatist aligned. There was more leaders on that faction of the CIS.
Oh yeah.
But another thing is that one planet they're on. It's not Munilist. It's the one with the big ray shield dome, and Obi-Wan's like sitting in the shack, and Cody comes in. He's like, "How long have we been here?" And he's like, "3 weeks, sir," or something like that. And
It's like we're halfway
like,
there.
halfway there, and he's like eating grubs and stuff.
Trying to sleep. Yeah, you can't.
Seeing a scene like that though, and then like understanding the Republic comic books, you're like, dude, the Clone Wars is gritty. The Battle of Jabim is like Vietnam of the Clone Wars. 3 foot deep mud, rain. You know, they were gathering clone troopers out of the mud rather than the civilians because the Separatists already aligned themselves with the planet. So the Republic came, and when they were fighting, the weather got too bad. It's that shot of Anakin reaching for a clone trooper's hand instead of the civilians that are reaching for him.
Dang.
And that was one of the main. That was a bad Republic loss too, out of all the Clone Wars battles. Yeah.
I don't know if we need to see that like the grittiness. Like I would love gritty Star Wars. Like that's like my shit. But that would be such a cool like video game, just like a Clone Wars video game, and just show like the nitty grittiness of like the war and like what happened. Like I don't think they'd ever do it, but like that's what I wish they would have done in one of the Battlefront games. You know, like added like a story mode, but like really dive deep, because I think Battlefront 2, like the original Battlefront 2, like that story I thought was really good. I really enjoyed it, but like I want an updated version, right? Like all that stuff's like it came out on the Xbox, you know. Like we've gone so far since then, so I really hope that we can kind of get something. I really hope that we get some more. You know me, I'm always talking about Star Wars video games. Like we need more Star Wars video games, man. They're not doing well. They're doing good on all other fronts, I think, but Star Wars video games, we need more than Fallen Order and Battlefront. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
But again, getting back to Clone Wars, because we taper off a little bit, which is great. I love that.
We don't taper too deep though. Like we go into another topic, but then it like immediately sets back.
But I love that. That's like my favorite thing is like we'll be talking about one topic and then we'll just go down like a rabbit hole of like another. But it's still within the realm of Star Wars, obviously. But that's just like my favorite thing about podcasting. But
that just means you're having fun. That's
right. I don't know if I have, like, I'm looking over like my notes. I don't think I have really anything else to say unless you guys have more to say. But we're at an hour and 8 minutes, which is a lot longer than I thought we were going to talk about Clone Wars for. So that's I
got one more.
Yeah, go. I say all you want, man. We're not any time constraint at all.
So as much as I stalker fan out of all medias of the Clone Wars, comics, the books, both of the shows, all that kind of good stuff. Within the past 6 months of me actually doing podcasts, I got to meet some really cool people, Charlie, Strike, Aiden, my boys. And they showed me something that I've never seen before in the Clone Wars, which I'm surprised that I missed.
Oh, I know where this is going.
So while Anakin's on the planet Nelvin, he's like going through the separatist base and all that kind of stuff, finding out what the Techno Union is doing to that species. These are like mutating them, the tribes people. And Anakin goes to hide in one of these like closet-looking corridors to like get out of the line of sight of the Techno Union coming down the hallway. And you see in the background the schematics for the separatist programming on how they're going to build General Grievous.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know what I'm doing after this podcast.
the three of them showed me that, and I cannot believe I missed that with how much I dig into that. It's the big green screen in the background. It's like a shot of Anakin like this. They're walking by, and the screen right in the background is a side profile of Grievous's helmet and his upper torso.
Yeah, and to be fair, bud, it was in the midst of chaos of you're following Anakin. He just lost another arm piece for the 5th or 6th time, again trying to grab that crystal and everything like that. So you're just okay, concentrate on that. But like, if you go back,
quick.
Yeah, if you look really carefully and everything like that up there, you're just like, wait a minute, freeze frame, and then you just see, oh, those are talons. Okay, wait a minute, looks like Grievous. Oh, Techno Union.
Yep.
That is him.
That's crazy,
So,
man.
yeah.
I've seen that so many times. I literally just got done watching it. Like literally before the podcast, I was watching the thing, and I had never seen that. So that's what I love, dude. It's like everybody catches the littlest things, and then when you start talking to more Star Wars fans, they're like, "Oh, hey, did you see this or did you know this?" And I'm just like, "No, I didn't." Like that's awesome.
Well, even
Like,
even dabbled in the comic books and like Dirge's background. I'm surprised you guys didn't know he was tortured by Mandalorians
Yeah.
for like thousands of years. That's like one of his bigger things out there. But yeah, it's really cool.
heck yeah,
I
dude.
love
And-
Tartakovsky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tarkovsky's great.
Seeing Anakin go through like all those missions and stuff. That's
Yeah.
that's what Clone Wars is about.
I love.
They get
I don't
trapped in
know-
that. They get trapped in those bubbles, like those big crab-looking droids. They like stand on their legs, and the big wolf man's like fighting them. He gets trapped in the bubble. Anakin's like, free, free.
No fear. Yeah, it's one of the favorite thing about that is I don't know if this is even intentional or not. If like even George is like, hey, make sure you do certain references to certain stuff or something. I don't know. But like, if you notice, every time that Anakin dips into the dark side, for the first season and the second season, he always uses his cybernetic hand, and even through the Darth Vader prophecy, it's his right hand cybernetic hand.
When he chokes
And,
out the Techno Union, it's the ghost
invisible
hand.
hand.
When he's slicing down on Asajj Ventress,
I
that's his dominant
love-
hand.
I love that detail and how he does that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
It's
sick.
just, I love that series, and it just holds up to me, and just it still adds in there, and it's still, like I said, it's just everything. Certain things may or may not coincide with stuff that's happened, but man, most of the stuff you can keep in there like it happened.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Both clones fit pretty damn seamless. You know, even
Yeah.
with each other. Like when it comes to the end, like I was saying before, Anakin giving Ahsoka her blue lightsabers. He's like, I gotta go to space. That goes right up to the Chancellor Palpatine's, rescue on the Invisible Hand. And even after that too, Ahsoka's in a comm link with Obi-Wan, and he's in his robes, and he even says something along the lines of, yeah, Dooku's no more, but I'm gonna look for Grievous on Utapau or something like that.
That's
Getting
so
ready to drop down and say hello there.
Beautiful.
Heck yeah, well said, well said. Well, thank you guys for coming on and talking to me about the Clone Wars, man. It's been fun. Like I said, I love talking to you guys. I love talking Star Wars and all that stuff. So thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you guys, if you made it with us, stuck with us for the past like hour and 13 minutes. We appreciate you guys just listening to us ramble about the stuff that we care about. So thank you so much. Let's run through everybody one last time on the social medias again, and then we'll all get out of here. Eros, let's go with you first, man.
Yeah, so it's just on Instagram, just RotaS5, so ROTAS, and then just the number 5. And over there, yeah, you can catch my my cosplay progress, whether I'm making helmets or my armor and all that sort of stuff. So it's all good there.
Very cool, very cool. Michael?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok and Instagram, and Darth Samarius. If you like cosplay or Kylo Ren mainly content, then I'm your guy. Hopefully, if you want to follow my, hopefully get in the 501st Legion soon, so I'll have
Heck
some content
yeah.
on that.
Sick,
Coming up.
dude.
Heck yeah.
Very cool, very cool. Jake?
Yeah, just my Instagram, j.t.lovecraft. And like I said before, just post whenever I want. If you like it, you like it. Whatever.
The man's followed by Ashley Eckstein, man. You guys gotta follow.
Ashley Eckstein, Anna Graves, and James
Oh.
Taylor.
Like,
Daddy.
come on.
And I'm sure
that's-
Charlie would kick me for this later, but I'm also in A Quiet Place too, but don't.
Yeah.
I still need to watch that. Like I haven't watched either of them, A Quiet Place, but I've heard they're really good.
I'm such a blur, man. I hate even saying that. I mean,
I'm gonna go in there and like post a picture on like my Instagram and be like, hey, there he is! There he is! It's him!
like with what's it
Once upon a
Is
time.
that-
Yeah, the Leonardo. It's like,
Whistles?
oh.
yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
That's
Charlie, what about you, man?
Just Instagram. That's Charlie Lone Wolf Thomas. My YouTube, Charlie. There's about 1,000 of them. If you see like a green background with a Bo-Katan, that's me.
Very cool. Very cool. Right on. Well,
Is he Bo-Katan?
No, yeah, wooden sword. Thank you, Jake.
Inside joke. Don't worry about it.
Very cool. Very
Thank you.
cool. Well, thank you guys again for coming on, and we will catch you in the next video. May the force be with you.